It starts with a very simple generic request.
Right. You open up your favorite AI tool. You just type, make me a beautiful product image. And you end up with beige, boring, entirely identical brand visuals. It is the ultimate trap of generic prompts.
Welcome to today's deep dive into AI marketing. Beat. We are exploring the one-person AI marketing factory.
It is such an exciting concept.
It really is. We are breaking down lesson 1 of a comprehensive course. We are looking closely at building your brand visual style guide.
Which is an absolutely critical foundation.
Exactly. Today, we will cover the overarching workflow comprehensively. We will explore why this visual guide is your non-negotiable first step.
Right, you cannot skip it.
We will break down the exact framework to build one. And we will reveal a pretty genius trick today. You will learn to reverse engineer aesthetics using powerful AI.
It's completely going to change how you actually work.
I certainly think so too. Beat. Let's unpack the core problem you face daily. You are managing a growing brand completely all alone.
Yeah, that is the reality for so many people.
You need a reliable, practical, AI-supported marketing workflow.
Because solo creators have to do absolutely everything. You design the promotional banners, you write the daily social posts, you contact potential brand partners, you review the complex analytics dashboards.
It sounds totally exhausting.
It really is.
Yeah.
When you wear that many hats, fatigue absolutely sets in. You simply run out of creative energy.
So beginners naturally look for a fast shortcut. They open ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, or maybe Canva, and they just type in very generic creative requests.
Yeah, they say, create a beautiful product image for my brand. That is a classic mistake right there.
It seems harmless enough at first.
Sure, the result usually looks highly polished and clean, but it completely drifts away from your brand's actual identity.
I will admit something vulnerable right here. 2-sec silence. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. Prompt drift is when AI slowly forgets or changes your original instructions.
I mean, we all do. It happens to the absolute best of us. AI inherently wants to revert to its baseline training.
That is exactly why the visual style guide acts as an anchor. It becomes your definitive creative reference for absolutely everything.
You use it for daily Canva templates, you use it for engaging social posts, you use it for blog graphics and targeted ads. It firmly grounds the AI completely.
Why do you think creators skip this foundational step? Why jump straight to generating the final images?
Well, it is all about that instant gratification factor. AI generation is just highly addictive for us. You click a single button and get a shiny image instantly, but foundational work feels incredibly slow and tedious. It feels exactly like eating your vegetables.
So the quick dopamine hit distracts us from building a solid creative foundation.
Right, and that sets you up for absolute failure later because a generic image doesn't stop the scroll. It just blends into the endless sea of content.
So we clearly know a strong foundation is necessary.
Yeah.
But an image doesn't just exist in a vacuum. Beat. It has to feed an entire operational machine.
That is the central thesis we are exploring here. AI works best when these tasks are fully connected. You need a repeatable workflow for all marketing tasks.
The course breaks this down into 4 distinct phases.
Yeah. Phase 1 clearly locks in that visual and brand foundation. That means building the robust style guide first. Then you create those initial product and lifestyle visuals.
Then you turn those into reusable templates.
Exactly. You rip flat designs into modular Canva assets. That saves you from starting from scratch every single Tuesday. It makes everything highly reusable for your brand.
So phase 1 locks in the core visual DNA. But pretty pictures don't sell products on their own. How does this system turn assets into actual web traffic?
That pushes us directly into phase 2 today. You plan out a full 30-day content calendar. You start writing long-form, highly engaging articles. But crucially, these articles must be AI search-friendly.
Meaning content formatted so AI chatbots can easily find and summarize it.
Exactly. You format for algorithms, but write for humans. You also package this content into reusable brand templates.
Once the content is flowing, doing it manually creates bottlenecks. Beat. So phase 3 focuses on building a practical workspace.
It is pure automation. You build robust content approval workflows for your team. You organize your messy Google Drive folders systematically. You set up Zapier automations to connect different apps.
You essentially connect all the digital plumbing.
Yeah, you schedule the publishing across all social channels. You even automate your backlink and PR outreach.
It sounds like taking humans out of the repetitive labor, which logically frees us up for phase 4, analytics and optimization.
This is where it gets highly analytical for creators. You use AI tools to read through complex data reports. It spots hidden patterns to improve your future ad campaigns.
But the core stress is keeping a human in the loop. Beat. If AI is reading data and optimizing, why is human review explicitly emphasized?
Because AI fundamentally lacks any real-world intuition. It can spot data trends with perfect mathematical accuracy, but only humans know if trends align with the brand's soul.
Right, AI spots the numbers, but humans protect the actual soul of the brand.
Yeah, that is exactly the dynamic you want to maintain.
Let's pull this grand roadmap back to lesson 1, two-sec silence. We need to understand why visuals absolutely come first. We have a strikingly clear case study here.
The Velvet Soda example perfectly demonstrates giving AI context, because AI is only powerful when given clear boundaries. Without boundaries, it makes terrible assumptions about your brand.
Let's look at the classic before prompt example. The user simply types, "make a skincare product photo."
Which leaves far too much up to the AI algorithm. The AI has to decide the core aesthetic mood. It invents the lighting, camera angle, and surface texture.
The result is entirely generic and uninspired. It doesn't stand out on a crowded social feed. It simply defaults to extreme, boring minimalism.
Or it just uses very safe, boring beige colors.
It looks like every other forgotten skincare brand online. It is perfectly polished, but it is completely hollow.
Then we see the highly specific after prompt. The Velvet Soda prompt is incredibly detailed.
The prompt defines a playful Y2K beauty brand.
Yeah, it specifically asks for vibrant soda pop glamour. It wants retro internet nostalgia mixed with pop star attitude.
It even specifies the product as glossy lipstick. It must look like a highly collectible beauty object.
Not just another clean, boring e-commerce pack shot. It asks for a 2004 teen magazine ad feeling, and it mixes that with modern social media glam.
The bold color choices are what really stand out. Beat bubblegum pink is the heavily dominant background color, but then it adds bright cherry red and electric blue.
And you mix in transparent jelly pink visual accents. By forcing the AI to combine these clashing colors, you break its habits. It completely stops blending everything into safe, muted pastels.
Listening to you list those detailed lighting and color choices. Beat. It feels exactly like stacking Lego blocks of data.
That is a fantastic way to actually look at it. You start with a solid foundational color block. You snap the Y2K aesthetic block right on top, and then you click the lighting block firmly into place.
So the AI can't accidentally build the wrong aesthetic structure.
Exactly. The lighting details are just as incredibly dense. It demands direct flash photography with hard reflections. You need visible shine and very high visual contrast.
Slight overexposure mixed with glossy highlights and chrome reflections. This creates a very specific, sticky, tactile feeling. You can practically feel the lip gloss.
Then the composition forces a very specific dynamic perspective. You want an asymmetrical composition with tilted product angles. The product should be slightly floating or casually leaning.
It demands an aggressive crop leaving the visual frame. And the background direction is entirely unhinged. It uses chrome trays and heavy glitter textures.
Soda-inspired bubbles and oversized Y2K typography lingering behind. It creates absolute sensory overload for the viewer.
The required output format is strictly specified too. Square, vertical, or story formats that are highly social media ready.
Then we see the critical negative direction section. This explicitly tells the AI what to actively avoid.
Avoid beige heavy palettes and muted earth tones. Avoid clean skincare neutrals and dull matte textures.
No sterile e-commerce lighting or soft beige daylight. No luxury minimalism or empty, boring white space. No calm, clean girl aesthetics or corporate typography.
It is fascinating how specific that negative direction is. Why is telling the AI what not to do just as important?
Because AI defaults to the most statistically average image on the internet. Right now, that average is minimalistic, clean girl beige.
We have to actively block the AI from retreating to boring, average internet aesthetics.
Right, otherwise it just slides right back into the beige abyss.
So we see how powerful a detailed prompt is. Now we need to structure our own visual guide. We need a system to generate those prompts consistently.
That brings us to what a style guide actually is. It is just a short, practical, creative document. It explains how your brand should look across all marketing assets.
It answers very practical questions for the AI algorithm. What specific colors appear often in your visual branding? Which colors are used carefully as minor visual accents?
What is the overarching mood of your visual brand? Is it dramatic, incredibly playful, calm, or highly editorial?
Are your backgrounds natural or perfectly studio-based? Are they distinctly minimal or heavily textured? Are product photos close-up macro shots or organized flat lays?
Your role as the creator is to firmly guide the overall direction. The AI is simply exploring the detailed visual options for you.
The framework from the text is incredibly clear. It flows logically through several distinct creative categories: brand, audience, emotion, visual mood, color, composition, and output.
Let's run through the Gen Z makeup example from the text. It perfectly illustrates this structured creative flow.
Okay, the brand is defined as a retro-inspired makeup brand.
The audience is Gen Z women aged 18 to 27. They enjoy expressive beauty, unique aesthetics, and highly collectible packaging.
The core emotion is playful, nostalgic, confident, feminine, and creative.
The visual mood is distinctly a vintage beauty counter. It has vibrant retro soda shop energy. It is incredibly colorful, but still highly polished. It feels slightly rebellious and very fashion-forward.
Color direction is cherry red, velvet pink, cream, glossy black, and pastel blue.
Composition features extreme close-up makeup shots. It demands reflective surfaces and authentic retro props. You want glossy textures under authentic film camera lighting.
Bold packaging focus, soft film grain, and playful editorial layouts.
Finally, the output is targeted Instagram posts and TikTok ad creatives. You generate packaging mock-ups, website banners, and beauty launch visuals.
Looking at this framework, I'm struck by a distinction. Beat. How do emotion and visual mood differ in practice?
Emotion is how you want the customer to feel inside, like confident, while visual mood is the actual aesthetic environment, like vintage beauty counter.
So emotion is the internal feeling, and mood is the external cinematic setting.
Yeah, you absolutely need both to create a resonant image.
We have the basic creative framework now, but finding the exact descriptive words can be incredibly hard. Describing a desired mood or composition accurately is notoriously difficult.
That is where we turn AI into a highly capable visual translator.
You can use ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini as your main workflow assistant.
You start by gathering deep visual inspiration. Look at Pinterest, scour Behance, check Instagram, or browse competitor websites.
You collect references for colors, lighting, unique layouts, and typography. Then comes the absolute best pro tip.
This is truly the best part of the workflow. You upload your favorite inspiration image directly into the AI tool. You ask it to thoroughly analyze the uploaded image.
You ask it to identify the precise color palette and specific lighting. You ask it to break down the underlying mood and typography styles.
And most importantly, you ask for the specific generative keywords. You need the exact keywords required to recreate that specific visual direction.
2-sec silence.
Whoa.
Imagine scaling to 1 billion queries. It is looking at pixels and translating them into the exact language it needs to dream up something entirely new.
It is truly wild when you really think about it. It gives you the perfect algorithmic language for your future creative prompts.
When reverse engineering an image, do you ever worry? Could the AI hallucinate a style or keyword that doesn't actually exist in design theory?
It definitely invents totally weird descriptive phrases sometimes, but honestly, if those weird phrases consistently generate the image you want, they are functionally perfect.
As long as the weird keyword gets the right visual result, it perfectly works.
Exactly. The AI's internal logic is all that really matters there.
This concludes the foundational material for Part 1. Part 2 will involve actually generating the detailed mood board notes. You will finalize the complete visual style guide then.
But for now, we have the critical foundation completely built.
Let's take a quick pause right here. Mid-roll sponsor break. Welcome back to the deep dive. Let's reflect on the big idea from this entire process.
The core philosophical takeaway is incredibly crucial. AI image generation isn't a magical wand that replaces brand vision. It is simply a powerful creative amplifier.
Without a rigidly defined style guide acting as a human anchor, the AI drifts. It will drift right back into the beige, average abyss of the internet.
Absolute control only comes from giving AI a strict creative framework. Brand, audience, emotion, visual mood, color, composition, and output.
That is exactly how you protect your growing brand. Beat. I want to leave you with a final thought today. We talked heavily about locking in your visual style. We want it to be rigid and completely defined. But think back to Phase 4 from the workflow roadmap. Analytics. What happens when you reach the complex analytics phase? What happens to your rigid visual identity when the AI data tells you that your playful Y2K aesthetics are underperforming? Do you let the algorithm slowly redesign your brand's soul, or do you hold the line?
That is the ultimate test of a true brand builder.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We will see you next time. Outro music.